Hello everybody, a very good evening to all of you. Let us just quickly check the quality of the audio. Please type a yes in your chat window if you can hear me properly. Please type a yes and then we'll start the session. Naman says audible. I'm sure you haven't heard me. There's a lag of around 15 seconds. So a genuine yes I need. Yes, Ram will do boats and streams and we'll do everything else, trains and whatever is there. Okay, wonderful. You can stop it. I can see that I am audible to all of you. Wonderful, good, fine. So the agenda for today's session is that we'll continue with where we left last time. So I'll probably discuss one or two slightly deeper concepts. We'll revise some part of it. I'll do some some different questions from what we did last time, and some people had problems with some of the issues, so I'll solve them as well. Fine. So I don't know how you're going to find this session because in terms of concepts I would not discuss much new, but again a few tricks and tips, and that's how we proceed. So before we start, I'll just and in fact we'll start only. I'll give you a very quick question, give me the answer to it, and let's start like that. So that's the question there on your screen. Let's start right away. So that's the question on your screen. Give me a quick answer and I'll start it. Alright, so that's there on your screen now. Okay, the answer to this one. I don't know. I think Sonia got it right. No, Ranu I think got it right first. Then Sonia got it right. I think 13 is the answer. Pankaj also got it right. Wonderful. So all of you are getting it right. Fine. But the bad part is that some of you are getting it wrong. In spite of the fact that we discussed it in quite a detail last time. Fine. There were people who had problems in this, and I thought I'll just take one question on ages this time. Just one question. Just listen to me very carefully. I'll give it a minute and move forward to the next question. How does it work? I mean, why do I take difference in ratio and all? That's why. I mean, and in fact, you took a lot of time answering this, so that's also a slight problem. I think you'll give me the answer quicker. Look at what is happening here. These are two people, Liz and William. Fine. Let's denote by them L and W. Fine. The ratio of their ages is given as 2:5 and then 5:7. This is 10 years back and this is after 12 years. So can I say that there is a time lag of 22 years between these two scenarios? This is exactly what is happening. Now what I do in questions like this is, my first step would be to equate this difference. Why? Because these are ages. When they are ages, if I have to work on ratios like this, I have to make this difference constant. To make this difference constant, what do I need to do? Just use common sense. Fine. If this difference is 2 between 7 and 5 here, fine, I'll multiply this 2 with 2 and 5, and if this difference between 5 and 2 is 3, I'll multiply this difference with 5 and 7. Look at how it goes then. This is LW, 2 multiplied with 2, this gives me 4. Fine. 5 multiplied with 2, this gives me 10. So these are the new ratios basically. Fine. 5 multiplied by 3 gives me 15, and this 7, this gives me 21. What has happened due to this multiplication here is that just look at this difference. What is this? This is 6. What is this difference? This is 6. Fine. So work backward. I had to make this difference constant. That's why I multiplied with 2 and 3. Fine. So if you have problem understanding that, work backward. How else could I have made this difference constant? Now this difference is 6, this is also 6, and now they are in proportions on which I can work directly. That's the reason we take a difference in a question like this. Now it's very simple. What you know is that this is a scenario after 22 years. Now look at here. What is this difference? This difference is just 11. If I assume that Liz was 4 and William 10, and then Liz was 15 and William 21, this difference comes out to just 11. 10 and 21 is just 11. 4 and 15 is just 11. But what do I need it to be? I need it to be 22. Fine. So it means that all these four numbers, 4, 10, 15 and 21, need to be multiplied with 2 to arrive at the correct numbers, right? So if you have to make the correct table, it would look like this. This 4 multiplied with 2 becomes 8. 10 multiplied with 2 becomes, how much is this? 20. Fine. 15 with 2, 30. And 21 with 2, 42. Now even if you look at 8, 20, 30, 42, they are consistent, they are satisfying, and everything is fine here. Now these are the actual numbers. Now you can calculate the answer. I mean, just get it in your head why I took the difference. I took the difference because these are ages. What was to be calculated? Age of Liz 5 years back. So this 8 here, this 8, what is this? This is the age 10 years back. Fine. If this is the age 8, 10 years back, fine. What would be the age 5 years back? इसमें बस 5 ऐड करना है, so the answer would be 8 plus 5 is equal to 13. Fine. I hope all of you get this. In fact, most of you got it last time as well. What I will still stress upon would be practice it a lot. It does not come like that. Fine. If you get a question like this, you should not waste 40-50 seconds on it. It should be done in 10-15-20 seconds. Fine. And that needs practice. Give yourself arbitrary values and then work on them. I hope this is clear. I'll give you the next one again, similar to what we had done last time. Just answer this very quickly. This is much easier. This is much easier. Answer this very quickly. Okay, since I did this again, it does not mean that you do not have to watch that previous session. It's a sincere request for all of you, please watch that. I discussed this in detail. I'm just, giving you a quick questions to check how good you are, and then we'll add some stuff to it. Right, Tuhan, wonderful, you got it. Answer this one very quickly. I'll just give you a burst of some very quick questions based on what we did last time. I want to check how good you are at this. So I got a first correct answer from Subhash Mishra, 12:14. We'll write it as 6:7. That's the correct answer. Yes, 35:42, everything is correct, but you need to realize that it's nothing but 6:7. Now look at this. This is again concept. There is nothing in this question. This is just concept. Again, I took this because a lot of people had problems with why I'm, so this is wine and this is water, and this ratio is given as 5:8, the first ratio, and the second one is given as 7:6. So that's what is given to you here. What does the question say? It contains 5:8, this contains 7:6. Now it says equal quantities of the two are mixed. When it's equal quantities mixed, what are ratios? Let's say I have got 5 units of wine and 8, let's call this solution 1 and this one solution 2. Fine. In solution 1 there are 5 units of wine and 8 units of water. Can I say that this is 13 units and all? 5 plus 8, 13. 13 units में से 5 wine होगा और 8 water होगा. ये तो पक्की बात है ना? Look at the second one. 7 units of wine, 6 units of water. 7 wine, 6 water. Can I say this is again out of 13? Again out of 13, 7 wine and 6 water. Now coincidentally in this question, this is 13 and this is 13. But this works in my advantage, in my favor. No, it says you have to mix in equal quantities. So let's say I take 13 units of this thing and 13 of this thing. ये तो equal खुद ही आ गया ना? Coincidentally, my good fortune that it's equal. Now it's equal. I know that in this 13 there will be 5 wine and 8 water, and in this 13 there will be 7 wine and 6 water. तो मुझे कुछ करना ही नहीं था. The moment I realized that 5 plus 8 adds up to 7 plus 6, I just add 5 and 7. So you add this 5 and 7, here it becomes 12. You add this 8 and 6, it becomes 14. So the answer becomes 12:14, which is 6:7. Look, this question is not difficult. The important part is understanding the concept. The moment you realize 5 plus 8 is adding up to 7 plus 6, that is 13, and it's equal quantities, you do not do anything, you just add them. So 5 plus 7, 12, 8 plus 6, 14, 12 is to 14, the answer becomes 6 by 7, and this is nothing. I mean, इसमें आपको कुछ भी नहीं करना है, इसमें 10 सेकंड भी नहीं लगने चाहिए. Fine, all of you get this. I am giving you the next one. I am just revising everything very quickly. Now answer this one. How do you do this one? The answer for this one very quickly. And do not think that I have framed these questions, that's why these numbers are like that. You get these numbers in the exam. They also want to check if you can do it quickly, if you can observe things. Answer this one now. Okay, I think Aman answered first, and then so many answers just scrolled past me. I could not take all the names, sorry. If you keep answering well, then probably your name would be called sometime, right? The answer is 83 to 71. I am surprised why so many of you are saying, yes, Saurabh, your smiley is obviously, a little more visible, so that's your trick, that's why your name called so often. Fine. So I don't know why so many people are saying 1:1. I don't know what the confusion is. I'll just repeat the question quickly. A mixture contains wine and water in the ratio 5:2. Again, wine water. So it's wine water day today. It's a Saturday, right? So this is wine water. This is 5:2, and the second one is 4:7. That's what's given to you. Fine. And the question, everything here remains the same as the last question, except for one thing. In the last question, this 5, 2 or this sum was adding up to the sum in the second one, but here it's not happening. What is 5 plus 2? It is 7. What is 4 plus 7? Here, this is 11. Now, if you have to add them or mix them in equal quantities, what you need to do here is, you need to bring these two ratios. Let's again call this solution 1 and solution 2. Fine. You need to bring these ratios in a form in which they satisfy this condition given here. Fine, which is that they should be mixed in equal quantities. तो मैं क्या करूँगा इसके लिए, आप सोच के देखो. Fine, this 4 plus 7, this 4 plus 7 here adds up to 11. So can I say for solution 2, in every 11 units there are 4 units of wine and 7 units of water, isn't it? Right? In solution 1 there are 5 units of wine and 2 units of water in every 7 units. Fine, but this 7 and 11 is not doing the job for me. The problem is that I have to mix them in equal quantities. So what is the way out? It's very simple. You multiply this 11 in this thing and 7 in this thing. इसको याद नहीं करना है. Just try and understand what I am doing. I am multiplying 7 with the second solution and 11 with the first one, because they would give me the desired numbers. Just think about it. Now this is wine here and this is water. Okay. Again, I am making a separate table so that everybody understands. This is extremely critical. I multiply 7 by 5. What do I get? I get 35. 7 into 2. एक मिनट, गलत तो नहीं कर रहा हूँ, सॉरी गलत कर दिया है, जस्ट अ मोमेंट. So I multiply 11 into 5, so that's 55. 11 into 2, 22. 7 into 4, this 7 into this 4. Fine. 7 into 4, 28, and 7 into 7, this 7 here into this 7. I get 49. You do not need to mug this up. Now look at what has happened in the process. What is 52? This, look at these numbers. This 55 and this 22. What has happened in the process? These two add up to 77. Isn't it 55 plus 22? And look at these two, 28 plus 49. They also add up to 77. So I manipulated these ratios because I wanted these sums to be same. Whereas this 5 plus 2 was 7, 4 plus 7 is 11. It was not equal. So I could not add it directly. That's the reason I manipulated the ratios. You are asking यहाँ क्यों sum ले रहा हूँ? मैं sum इसके लिए ले रहा हूँ क्योंकि मेरे को इन दोनों ratios का sum बराबर चाहिए. 55 plus 22, 28 plus 49 add होके 77 देते हैं. So 55, 22, 28, 49, the sum is the same. In the last question, in the previous question, the sum was already same. Now I have made it same by manipulating the ratio. I hope you got it now कि मैंने इसमें क्यों sum किया और last में क्यों difference किया था. It's different. The case is completely different. Now when you get these numbers, this 55, 22, 28, 49, it's the same question. Just add them up. So what do you need? what is the ratio? 55 plus 28, what does it give me? I think it gives me 83. Fine. So 83 units of wine for every 22 plus 49. This 22 here and this 49 units of water. What is that? 71. So the answer becomes 83, 71. So this is the second level equation in that, in which you have to manipulate for just the quantities to arrive at equal quantities. I hope that's okay with everybody. You have to do it extremely fast without doing any stupid error, and for that you need to practice a lot. I am going to the third one now. I'll not repeat it because there is nothing to repeat in this. All right, answer this one now. This is the third step here. कुलदीप गुड, समझ में आ गया. जिनको नहीं समझ में आया था उन्हीं के लिए मैंने इसके 3-4 क्वेश्चन फिर से लिए हैं. दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, आंसर दिस नाउ. Now since you have understood this should be easier. Okay, wonderful. Now I think all of you are getting it very very easily. Now what is the difference here? I'll just quickly make it. This is wine, water. What is given to you? This is given as 5:6 and this second one is given to you as 9:2. So that's your table. You don't have to draw it, you have to do it mentally. I am explaining it to you for the sake of understanding. This is first, this is second. Now observe this. This adds up to 11 units. This adds up to 11 units. Had I asked you in this question that they are mixed in equal quantities, तो आप क्या करते? सीधा 5 और 9 को ऐड करते. 5, 9, 14, 6, 2, 12. Fine. So 14 by 8 becomes 6, 2 is 8. So 5, 9, 14, 6, 2, 8. That becomes your answer. But now these are not in equal quantities. Their ratio is given. So I do not need to take care of their relative quantities. What I will do is, since I need this solution, this in the ratio 2:3. Fine. This is 2. For every 2 parts of this thing, I have to take 3 parts of this thing. What do? I multiply this one with 2 and this one with 3. तभी आएगा ना. This is 5 plus 6, 11 units, solution 1. 9 plus 2, 11 units of solution 2. But what do I need? I need the ratio of 2:3. So I multiply the upper one, solution 1 with 2 and the lower one with 3. So I do this very quickly. 5 into 2 is 10, 6 into 2 is 12, 9 into 3 is 27, 2 into 3 is 6. Now just add them up. 10 plus 27 is 37. This is 18. So 37 is to 18 becomes your answer in this case. So this is the third case here in this. If you look at it, this is very similar to the last one. In the last one, these two were not adding up to that same number. In this they are, but the ratios are different, so I manipulated. So that's the third case. I have divided into cases for you to understand this. Fine. Alligation पे I'll come. ये मत करो, ये उससे आसान है, वो उससे मुश्किल है, because there are different questions that require different techniques. I'll explain that in detail. That's why I call this special class today. Now that's the last one. You do it now. Give me the correct answer. If you give me the correct answer, I'll understand that you have got this concept. Please answer this now. Yes, wonderful. I think Amit answered first. Amit, Subhash almost at the same time. I'm sorry if did not take anybody's name because I could not look at the screen. But yes, wonderful. All of you are saying 102 is to 73. You have got this concept now. Now it's very simple. Now I'll not even write. Chalo likh deta hu because this is the toughest in this thing. This is wine. This is water. Look at what is happening in this case. This is the the fourth or the fifth case. आप लोग को सब कुछ cases से समझ में आता है. So I thought I'll take cases here. This is 3:2. Fine. This thing is given as 4:3. अब आपको इसमें रेशो भी दिया हुआ है. इसको आपको 2:3 के रेशो में यहाँ पर मिक्स करना है. Now there will be 2 steps required. Why? Because 3 plus 2 is 5, 4 plus 3 is 7. So they are not adding up to that same number. What do you do to equate the quantities? Now understand this very clearly, do not mug this up. The first step would be to equate the quantities. 3 plus 2 5 होता है, 4 plus 3 7 होता है, equal नहीं है. What would I do? I multiply this one with 7. Why 7? Because 4 plus 3 is 7. इसको मैं ऊपर मल्टीप्लाई करूंगा यहाँ पर इसके सम को. Now यहाँ पर ले आऊँ. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 को मैं नीचे मल्टीप्लाई करूंगा. Okay? When I do this, now I'll not do it at this stage. I'll just keep it like that because there's a chance that they would cancel amongst themselves. I'll not do anything. I'll just put it like this. What I do at the next step is that I'll multiply this with this 2. Why? Because now I need to take care of the quantities that are given. So I put this 2 here, I put this 3 here. What does it become? This is basically 14 and this is 15. बस ऊपर वाले को 14 से मल्टीप्लाई करना है, नीचे वाले को 15 से. You multiply this thing with 15 and this thing with 14 and this will do your job. I'll just write this very quickly. 14 into 3, 42, 14 into 2, 28, 15 4s are 60 and 15 into 3, 45. Fine. So now these numbers, these 4 numbers do the job for you. Why? Because they are satisfying both the conditions now. इसमें सब कुछ satisfy हो रहा है. You add them up. What is this? 102. You add them up. This is 73 I think. So the answer becomes 102 is to 73. I hope this concept is clear to all of you. I am explaining this in great detail because questions do not come in a very, because you would not get stereotype questions. They'll manipulate the values here and there and keep looking for the formula. इसमें कौन सा वाला लगना था, इसको समझ लो, किसी फॉर्मूले की जरूरत नहीं है. That is it. I'm giving you the last one now. Last one. Answer this very very quickly. Very quickly. देखते हैं इसको कौन पहले आंसर करता है. एक सेकेंड. इसको आंसर करिए. I'm coming to alligation. Alligation is there in today's agenda. Don't worry. I'm coming to alligation. Answer this first. I think all of you are saying 23 is to 17. That's the correct answer. Now again a learning for you in this question. When you jump at, pounce upon the question to solve it, just look at it carefully. Now look at these values here. It's exactly the same thing. 11 is to 4, 12 is to 13. Fine. Just look at this. Without doing anything, do you realize that what this adds up to? This is 15 and this adds up to 25. Fine. So let's call this solution 1 and let's call this solution 2 here. So this is solution 1 here and this is 2. What you should realize here is that 15 is to 25 is the same ratio as 3 is to 5. Isn't it? Since this is the same ratio, you do not need to do anything. अगर आप इसको लिखोगे, let's say मैं इसको proper लिखता हूँ, 11, 4, 12, 13. 11 plus 4 कितना होगा? This will give me 15. 12 plus 13 will give me 25. Now, should I realize this after writing this? No, I should realize it immediately after looking at the question that this 11 plus 4 is 15 and this 12 plus 13 is 25 and this 15 is to 25 is 2 is to 3, 3 is to 5 and this is the same ratio that's given here. So, when it's the same ratio that's given here, do I need to write all this? Absolutely not. What I need to do is just add these numbers. So, 11, 4, 12, 13. What would the answer be? 11 plus 12, 23, 4 plus 13, 17 and that's your answer. How much time? 5 seconds. But you get it only if you are conscious of the facts that you have to look at the data very very clearly, very properly. So in fact, if I have to draw an analogy of this question, I will draw it with the first one in which they were equal and the equal proportions were given. But जरूरी नहीं है ना कि equal हो, ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि ये ऐसे दिए हुए हों बट ये सेम प्रोपोर्शन में आ जाए, तो ये कल को 3:5 की जगह इट कैन बी any stupid ratio, it can be 9:13. So you have to be conscious of the fact that the numbers can be given like this and they come in actual exams. So without just starting to write something, just look at the data first and you get questions like this. I mean, I'm telling you from experience, you get questions like this. Unless the person who sets the paper is hell bent on ruining your life, you'll get questions like this. Just keep that in mind. So this is it on this one, and I am moving to the next one now. So this is a question that people wanted me to do last time. If you remember, वो बराबर नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा करके कुछ ऐसा था. Do this now. Give me the correct answer. I'll tell you the approach for it. Okay, answer this first. No, Nathan, no donkey work for you and for nobody. Answer this one now. Okay, all of you are coming with so many different answers. The answer is 1:4, but I expected you to do it a little quickly. Fine. What we'll do is we'll do it with a couple of approaches. Fine, because I have to introduce alligation as well. Let's do it with this approach first. Fine. I don't know why so many of you are saying 79:46. Again, because you are using it as a formula. But I'm happy that so many of you got the correct answer. Do not worry, we'll discuss this. देखो इसमें क्या हो रहा है. 2 ratios, 3:2, 7:3. यहाँ लिखते हैं. This is wine. This is water. This is given to you as 3:2. In the second one, it's given to you as 7:3. Fine. Let's again, for the sake of clarity, call it solution 1 and call this thing as solution 2. Fine. Now, you are saying in what ratio should the two be mixed? Now, this middle part is missing here. Fine. This middle part is missing here. To get a resultant mixture with wine and water in the ratio 17:8. So what you know is that you know the final ratio of wine is to water, but उसके बीच का part का missing है आपका. Fine. So what you do is, if I apply that same technique here, please listen to me very carefully. What is the first thing that I used to do? I used to multiply it with that factor. Which factor? This thing. This 7 plus 3 is 10. 3 plus 2 is 5. Can I say that if I have to multiply here, I will multiply this first one with 10 and the second one with 5? Yes. और इन अदर वर्ड्स यू कैन से 10 5 नहीं रहेगा, 2 1 रह जाएगा, बट इट्स दैट सेम थिंग. You multiply it like this. Now I do not know in what ratio are they need to be mixed. So since this ratio is unknown, I told you yesterday, day before yesterday, that whenever a ratio is unknown, what do you assume it as? Not x is to y, you assume it as x is to 1. So I'll put this x here and 1 here. Please understand these two steps. What is this for? This 10 5, and what is this for? I have assumed that the required ratio is x is to 1. फाइन, एक बार फिर से देखते हैं इस वाले पार्ट को, क्योंकि मैं चाहता हूं आपको दोनों तरीके से ये करना है. ये 10:5 मैंने क्यों मल्टीप्लाई करा? जब मैं उन दोनों को इक्वेट करता था तो इसी तरीके से करता था ना. 7 + 3 is 10, तो 10 को यहां पर मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया. 3 + 2 here is 5, तो 5 को नीचे कर दिया. यही चीज किया. अब ये 10 5 तो आपस में कैंसिल होते हैं. सो 10 5 गेट कैंसिल्ड अमंग्स देमसेल्व्स. कैसे कैंसिल होंगे? दिस 5 and 10 यहां पर ऊपर इल बी जस्ट 2 एंड नीचे कुछ नहीं बचेगा. सो 10 हियर एंड नीचे सिर्फ 5 रह जाएगा. नाउ जस्ट मल्टीप्लाई. What would be in my new table like? Just look at this. 2x multiplied with 3. I am doing it in detail for you to understand. 2x into 3 gives me 6x. Fine. This is 6x here. 2x into 2 gives me 4x. नीचे आ जाते हैं. यहाँ तो 1 ही है सिर्फ. 1 into 7 is 7 and 1 into 3, this 1 into this 3 gives you 3. So it's like this. Again, it's that same thing. This is wine and this is water. What I have done is that though this is not a preferred method in something like this, just for your understanding, if you choose to go with it, there is no reason why you'll do it, but if you do this, you should get the concept right. Fine. यहाँ पर आपने 10 5 से multiply करा to equate the numbers, then x is to 1 से करा because this is an unknown and you have to assume a ratio. x is to 1 because there is an unknown here. Unknown का मतलब क्या है? x is to y लोगे, x is to 1 लोगे. I take x is to 1. I think you haven't seen the last lecture. So whenever you have to assume a ratio, you assume it as x is to 1. So you arrive at this same table, this same structure. अब तो सिंपल ही है ना, इसको ऐड कर दो. This becomes 6x plus 7. Fine. And this second one here becomes 4x plus 3. Now you are all champions of algebra and calculations and whatnot. You can do it very simply. What do you do? 6x plus 7 upon 4x plus 3. Where do I write? There is no place left. Okay, यहाँ पर लिखता हूँ on the top left corner. 6x plus 7 upon 4x plus 3, right? Let me just erase this part. Okay, this is equal to, this is now given to you. This is given to you as 17 upon 8. You solve this and you get x as 1:4. Solve this, solve करके देख लो आप. You get x is 1:4. So you do this, you arrive at the correct answer in this one. Fine. X 1:4 का मतलब क्या है? That this x here is 1:4. If this is 1:4:1, मतलब जो आपका आंसर हो गया, that is 1:4:1. So basically what is that? That is 1:4 only. Fine. यही इसका आंसर है. But looking at this, do you think it's the preferred method? I explained this because I want you to understand that every method works absolutely everywhere. Fine. So that is not a problem. The thing is that you should employ a method that works the quickest in that particular situation. So that's why I'm saying do not mug them up. Try and understand. Now I hope this is okay with everybody. The value of x becomes 1:4, so the ratio becomes 1:4. I am telling you a second method of doing it. Now look at this. What is this? This is 3:2 and this is 7:3. Can I say 3:2? Let's work on one of them. Let's work on wine. Can I say this 3:2 means that it's 60% wine and this ratio 7:3 means that this is 70% wine? ऐसा ही हो रहा है ना? Look at this very very carefully and we can do it very very quickly. What do you need eventually? In what ratio should the two be mixed to get a resultant mixture with wine and water in the ratio 17:8? So this is the final ratio that I need. What is 17 plus 8? It's 25. So you quickly realize that 17:8 is nothing but it's 17 into 4, that's 68%. Fine. So the three numbers are with me in terms of wine. So this is 60% wine, the first solution. The second solution is 70% wine and the resultant is 68% wine. अब इसके अंदर I'll use alligation. And alligation is no difficult, no alien concept. It's a very simple, very commonsensical way of doing things. देखो मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पर. Let's draw a small line like this. ऐसा मेरे को कुछ समझाना है. So don't jump to the conclusions here. Just look at it very carefully. This is 60%. Let's call this as solution 1 again. This is 70% and I'm talking about just wine here. So just forget water part. I'm just talking about wine and this is your solution 2. So solution 2 is 70% wine, solution 1 is 60% wine. एक बार के लिए इस क्वेश्चन को भूल जाते हैं. Let's forget this question. Let's say you have to arrive somewhere here and you have to get 65% wine solution. common sense tells me that if I mix them equally, I'll get 65% wine. और तो कोई तरीका ही नहीं हो सकता ना. 60% को 70% के साथ में आई मिक्स इक्वली, 60 और 70% को मैंने वापस से बराबर मिक्स कर दिया. अगर मैंने दोनों को बराबर मिक्स करा, फाइन, तो मेरे को क्या मिलेगा? इट हैज टू बी 65%. इफ इट्स 65%, दिस 65% हियर इज achieved by putting them in the ratio 1:1. Now comes the important part. If you look at this complete scale, fine, if I move in this direction, let's say I move in this direction here, if I move in this direction, can I say that it would be, values like 62, 64, values like this? It would be 62 or 64 when this solution 1 would be more as compared to solution 2. Obviously, when they are equal, it would balance at 65%. When solution 1 is more, it would be something like 61, 62, 63, 64. When it's more of solution 2 then solution 1, then it would be 66, 67, 68, वगैरह वगैरह. Obviously, it works like that. You do not need to mug up anything. This is common sense. Now, where is our solution? It would be somewhere here. Fine. It would be somewhere here. What is this number that is given to us? This is given to us as 68%. Fine. अब आप इसको mentally करेंगे यहाँ से. आपको कुछ भी नहीं करना है. What is 70 minus 68? 70 minus 68 is 2. What is 68? This 68 minus 60. 68 minus 60, I'll just write it down just once. This is 8. This is 2:8, which is 1:4. अब इसमें आपको क्या कंफ्यूजन हो सकता है, which happens with a lot of people when it comes to alligation, is कि 1 वाला component कौन सा है, 4 वाला component कौन सा है. उसमें there should be absolutely no trouble. The reason why there should be no trouble is that you already know that since this is balancing at 68%, the component of solution 2, which is 70%, should definitely be more than the component of solution 1, which is 60%, and there has to be nothing else. और कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता ना. अगर 68% पे आके ये बैलेंस हुआ है तो वो 70 की तरफ ही टिल्टेड होगा ना. 70 के अलावा तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. if it had it been let's say 61, तो क्या होता? 61 के केस में वो 60% की तरफ टिल्टेड होता. had it been 61, it would have tilted towards 60%. I hope you got this. So first let me just arrive at the answer and I'll give you a few examples on this. So what you do is you get this 1:4 by this calculation, 70 minus 68 upon 68 minus 60, which is 2:8, which is 1:4, and the answer becomes in this case 1:4. Now I'm just changing the question slightly. I'm just erasing this and changing it. Let's say in place of this thing, I'm just giving you arbit values here, and let's keep this scale here. Let's say this is 80% only, and this is 60%. I'm just talking about wine solution. I'll just write this down so that there is no confusion. This is wine. I'm just working on wine. I'm not talking about water. Water तो खुद ही हो जाएगा ना, जितना भी होगा, will take care of itself. So this is 60% wine and this is 80% wine. Fine. अब एक बार के लिए सोचो यहाँ पर. I already explained when it's 65% here. Fine. This 65% means that this is 1:1. अब देखो ये move कैसे कर रहा है. इसको ना 10 parts में divide कर लो. ऐसे सोचो इसको. I'll just erase this. Look at it carefully. Fine. For me, this 1:1 is not 1:1, but this is 5:5. For a moment ऐसे assume करो इसको. Why I'm doing this is that let's say I start with this 61 here. Fine. Let's say I put this 61 here. Now this 61 here would be 60 से 80 के बीच में ये कितना, एक मिनट रोको. Let's say एक second, just a moment. Just a moment. Let's say यहाँ पर होता है कुछ. Let's say this is 62%. 62% आपको निकालना तो आप क्या करते हैं? सीधा 80 minus 62, you do it mentally, and the another calculation would be 62 minus 60. Fine. So you know that this is 18 upon 2, which is 9:1. Fine. अब जैसे ही आपको 9:1 आता है, इसको बस सोच के देखो यहाँ पर, ये 9 किधर होना चाहिए? 9 should be towards 60 this side. Why? Because 60% solution should be more than 80% solution. तभी 9:1 आया ना. If this is 9 units, 60% is 9 units and 80% is 1 unit, तभी तो वो 60% की तरफ इंक्लाइंड होगा. वही हो रहा है ना. So this case would be 9:1. अब देखो ये कैसे मूव करना शुरू होगा. अगर मैं यहाँ पर इसको 62 से, let's say I make this 64. Fine. ऐसा सोचो यहाँ पर मैंने इसको 64% बना दिया, तो क्या होने वाला है? ये 9:1 से यहाँ पर ये 8:2 हो जाएगा. इसी तरीके से मूव करेगा ना, and it'll continue moving like this. अगर आप इसको, ओहो, the problem that I did was that I took 80 in place of 70 here. That's why you're getting okay. Anyway, does not make a difference. Let's work with these values only. if this is 8 is to 2 here, then it will move to 64%, and likewise it's going to continue, fine. So the thing is that it's a continuous scale, so it starts from 9 is to 1, then 8 is to 2, then 7 is to 3, and likewise it continues going like this till the time it arrives here at this other end, completely other end. I'll give you a separate example, just let me erase this and look at this. Let's say actual values सही से देखते हैं, this is 60% and this is 70%. If I have to draw a continuous scale, it would look like this. Let's say this is 61%, this is 62, this is 63, this is just for your understanding, fine, and here it's, let's say, 69 and 68. How would it work? You should understand that this 61 we already calculated. How will it work? 70 minus 61, just one calculation, upon 61 minus 60. What is this? This is 9. So you already know for 61 it has to be 9 is to 1. Now I know directly that if it is 9 is to 1, here for 62 it's going to be 8 is to 3, 2. Here it's going to be 7 is to 3. I am giving you all the values for you to understand this process. What is happening? This is going to be 6 is to 4, and you continue reducing this. Fine. So 6 is to 4 के बाद क्या आएगा? 5 is to 5 आएगा. So this 5 is to 5 would happen where? At 65. So 60 और 70 के बीच में, exactly बीच में, it will be 65, and 65 becomes 5 is to 5. That's why I had written previously it as 5 is to 5. You continue going like this. Where would you reach at 69? 69 पे आके ये number कहाँ पहुँच जाएगा? This number started with 9 is to 1 and it would reach 1 is to 9. तो ये तो continuous scale हो गया ना. So at 61% I have to be at 9 is to 1, at 62% 8 is to 2, 63 7 is to 3, 64 6 is to 4, 65 you already know 5 is to 5, which is 1 is to 1, which is equal quantities, and likewise you continue like this. Because of paucity of space I am not writing this, जगह कम है इसके लिए मैं पूरा नहीं दिखा रहा हूँ. And at 69% it reaches 1 is to 9, and if it's 70% extreme end है तो ये क्या हो जाएगा? It will be all 70% solution. तभी आ सकता है ना. You need to understand this scale. If you understand this, alligation is absolutely nothing. I mean it becomes a cakewalk for you. कोई formula, कोई cross multiplication कुछ याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. It's common sense, simple common sense. Now I'm moving forward, giving you a question on this. Answer this right now. If you got this, answer this now very quickly and use alligation. What we are going to discuss here is we are going to discuss the applications of alligation. It's used extensively in DI and arithmetic. But the important thing for you to realize is it's not used everywhere. Fine, use it common sensically. Do not leave your brains anywhere. Answer this now. This is to be done using alligation. Give me the answer here. Yes, Pankaj, this is alligation without pen and paper. In fact, pen and paper use किया तो alligation क्या रह गया यार? फिर तो वही कर लो ना, सीधे कर लो. It has to be used like that. Answer this now very quickly. Yes, 2 is to 3. That's the answer. कैसे करेंगे? This is 85% milk. This is one solution. The second solution is pure milk. Pure milk would be basically 100% milk. And you need a solution with 94% milk. कुछ नहीं करना है. You do it mentally. Absolutely mentally. Two ends. You do it mentally. You do not write this. This is 85% milk. Fine. And this is 100% milk. Where do you need to reach? You need to reach somewhere here. This is 94% milk. You already know that it's tilted towards which direction? Pure milk के direction में it's tilted. That's the only thing you need to remember. 100 minus 94 सीधा. चलो I'm writing this one more time. And इधर क्या आएगा? 94 minus 85. It is what is written ना. ये कितना है? This thing 100 minus this is 6 upon 9, which gives you basically 2 is to 3. That's your answer. कितना टाइम लगेगा इसमें? 5 सेकंड लगेंगे. इफ यू रियलाइज दिस दैट दिस कैन बी डन मेंटली, यू डू नॉट नीड टू राइट इट. कैसे सोचेंगे इसको? अगर आपको कैलकुलेशन देखनी थी तो मैंने यहां पर दिखा दिया. दैट्स द कैलकुलेशन. हाउ डू यू थिंक अबाउट इट? आई एम इरेजिंग दिस. लुक एट दिस. Look at this. This is 100. Fine. This is 85. You realize this quickly. 94 falls somewhere in between. 100 minus 94 is 6. 94 minus 85 is 9. So answer has to be 2 is to 3. ज़रा सा confusion क्या होगा? Whether it's 2 is to 3 or 3 is to 2. 94 is tilted towards 100. It means that this 3 component of this 2 is to 3 has to go towards pure milk, towards 100 component. It means that the ratio would be 2 is to 3 and not 3 is to 2. You do not need to mug this up. I have never mugged this up. This should come common sensically to you. Okay, next question. This is the next one. Again, answer this quickly. Good, Pankaj, you got it. Answer this now. Jagdish, if you are late, I'll advise going back to the stream from the beginning and then watch it. Subhajit, there are so many ifs and buts here. Just try and understand what we are doing. You will be able to solve everything through it. I'm not saying this is panacea, this would apply everywhere. Just understand this now. It's good to ask questions, absolutely. But this is the time to learn. Ask questions when you come across problems, right? 1:3 is the answer. Wonderful. Some of you are getting it wrong, but most of you are getting it right. I am extremely happy. Look at what is happening here. This is 80%, this is 60%, and this is 13:7. Again, use alligation. 13, 7, 20. This is calculation mistake नहीं करनी है मुझे. This is 65%. So basically क्या numbers हैं आपके दिमाग में? या फिर से इसको mentally करेंगे. This is 80%. I'm talking about milk. I'm talking in terms of milk here. I can talk in terms of water as well, but I'm talking in terms of milk. So many of you have got it right. Wonderful. Fine. What are the two solutions? I'll write the first one first so that I do not do a stupid error. This is 80% on one end. This is 60% on the other end. You are doing it mentally, not writing it. Fine. Where is this thing? This thing is at 65% here. Fine. If this is at 65%, what are the two values? Fine. This is one difference. This is another difference. It looks like a cross multiplication. I'm not doing anything of that type. 80 minus 65 is 15. 65 minus 60 would be 5. कितना आएगा? 3 और 1 दो नंबर्स आएंगे. अब कौन सा 3 होगा कौन सा 5 होगा ये तो आपको पता ही है ना. कौन सा वाला 3 होना चाहिए इस केस में? जो 60% वाला है वो 3 होना चाहिए ना. वही 3 होगा ना, क्योंकि अगर 60 और 80, 60 and 80 mixed give you 65%. Some are saying 3:1, some are saying 1:3. Please realize that it's easier to do this subtraction. So what you do when you get this is, I'm just erasing this. Fine. What you do is that you write this 60 mentally, you write this 80, and you write this 65. You know this. Fine. You can put it anywhere, left, right, anywhere. It does not make a difference. The important thing to realize is 80 minus 65 is 15. 65 minus 60 is 5. So this is 3 and 1. Which goes where should depend upon common sense and not some mugged up method. 3 में कौन सा जाने वाला है, 1 में कौन सा जाने वाला है, ये कॉमन सेंस पर डिपेंड करना चाहिए, ना कि आपको इसको याद करना है. अगर आप इसको याद करोगे यू विल मेस इट अप इन 1 out of 2, 3, 4 क्वेश्चंस. फाइन. अब यहां पर आप देखो, ये तो 37, ये तो 65% था, ये 65%, दिस 65%, ये किसकी तरफ टिल्टेड है? ये 80 की तरफ है या 60 की तरफ है? दिस इज टुवर्ड 60. फाइन. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि 60 वाला कंपोनेंट, दिस कंपोनेंट शुड बी 3, ये वाला कंपोनेंट. अब जैसे भी उसने पूछा है वैसे आंसर कर दो. क्या पूछा है? अब इसने पूछा है इन व्हाट रेशियो वर दे मिक्स्ड, तो 60 वाला कंपोनेंट बाद में है ना, तो यू यूज द सेम ऑर्डर. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? दिस वुड बी 1. फाइन. 4:1 वाला वुड बी 1 एंड द आंसर बिकम्स 1:3. आई एम टेलिंग यू दिस थिंग so that you do not mark the answer as 3:1. I can see already that some of you are again, Ranjit, it's not 3:1, it's 1:3. I'm explaining why it's like that. You get two numbers, one number is 1, one number is 3. Fine. You need to decide which one to go where. You give this 63 and this 81. Why? Because this 65 is tilted towards 60 as compared to 80. Fine. So 60 gets the bigger number. Very simple. So that's the rule for this. Fine. So the answer for this one becomes 1:3. I'm going to the next one now. Amit, if you do not understand why this is 65%, you need to attend my arithmetic classes. 13:7 has to be 65%, brother. 13 into 5 is 65, 7 into 5 is 35, they add up to 100. That's how percentages work. So that's the next question for you now. Next one, answer this very quickly using alligation. I would again request, if some of you have problems getting it, I am being very slow. Please watch my earlier lectures. Please repeat it. This would be available as a recording, but I cannot get slow beyond an extent. It'll hamper the pace of the class. I have an agenda to clear here. Okay, many of you are saying 66. I think that will be the correct answer. एक बार देख लेते हैं कैसे करना है. Now I'll tell you something here which is very important to understand. Fine. I'll tell you something here. I'll just come back on screen for a moment. Please bear with me. Fine. The general rule when you're talking about alligation and weighted average, it's the same thing. It's absolutely the same thing. A rule of thumb would be, if you want me to give you a rule, I do not believe in doing that, would be that if if in the calculation the final thing is missing, you have to write it at the resultant, you use weighted average. And if a middle value is missing, fine, in what ratio is to be mixed and something like that, then you use alligation. That's the rule of the thumb. So going by that, if you look at this question, I should use weighted average and not alligation here. But I still feel inclined to use alligation. I'll tell you the reason why. Look at it very carefully. Those of you who did it by weighted average, I absolutely do not have a problem here. It works here. Fine. Let me just disappear and explain this to you. A conventional way of doing this would be, you do this 71 into 3 plus 63 into 5 and you divide it by 8, and I think what do you arrive at? You arrive at, I think, 66. So that's your answer. It's a fairly simple one. What I want to do is, I want to save even this time for you. ये जो आपको लगेगा ना 63, 5, 71, 3 वगैरह को ऐड करने में, ये टाइम भी सेव करते हैं. इसको कैसे सेव करेंगे? आंसर तो 66 है. Everybody knows कि आंसर is 66. Let's try and use alligation in this one as well. Again, I'll take it off a screen and again draw this line, this thing. So again, look at this. How would this behave? Let's say this is 63% solution. This is 63% milk, mind it, and this is 71% solution. So these are two extremes. अब इसमें देखो क्या हो रहा है. Let's say this is at 67 here. मैं इसमें उल्टा काम कर रहा हूँ. अगर ये 67% पे बैलेंस होगा, let's say I mix the two of them, let's call it solution 1 and let's call this solution 2. Fine. 71% becomes solution 2, 63% becomes solution 1. अगर इन दोनों को मैं बराबर मिक्स करता हूँ, I mix them in equal proportions. Fine. I would arrive at 67. I already explained that. All of you know that. Now you know that if I move towards the left, fine, let me write values. For example, let's say I move towards this side. I move towards 64. यहाँ तो there is space. In fact, I can write anything here. This is 65 and let's say this is 66. और तो कोई value नहीं है ना if I'm talking about integers. And this is 68, this is 69 and this is 70. That's the complete scale in terms of integers. How would it behave? You already know that when it's 67, it has to be 1:1. Fine. But I will not write this as 1:1. I will write it as 4:4. The reason is that I want to explain it to you in this format. 63 और 71 के बीच में difference क्या है? Just try and understand this. This is a 8 unit difference. Fine. If you can understand this, you will get this method wonderfully well. This 8 is this same sum, 3 plus 5, 8. Now just understand what I am doing here. To arrive at this 64, in what ratio should I mix the two? To arrive at 64, in what ratio should I mix the two? 71 minus 64 is 7, 64 minus 63 is 1. So this would be mixed in the ratio 7:1, not 1:7, but 7:1. Can I say it would behave like this? I do it mentally. This is just for understanding. So I mix it in the ratio 7:1 to arrive at 64. 7 parts of 63% solution with 1 part of 71% solution, and you arrive at 64% solution. Now when I move towards this side, fine, it would become 6:2. ऐसे ही होगा ना? When I move towards this side, further towards this side, 66, what should it become? It becomes 5:3. I move further towards 67, it becomes 4:4. I move further towards 68, what would it become? कम होते चले जाएगा ना फर्स्ट पार्ट का, मतलब 63% सॉल्यूशन का जो कंपोनेंट है वो कम होते चले जाएगा. कैसे कम होगा? ये 4:4 से इट वुड बिकम हियर 3:5. अब आगे मूव करते हैं, 69 देखो, फाइन, व्हाट वुड इट बिकम? हियर इट्स 3:5, दिस वुड बिकम, I have missed a number, 2:2, what have I done here? Just a moment. This is 2:6, and I move further, this becomes 1:7, fine, and this is the extreme end. So I have drawn this complete cycle for you to understand how alligation works, and at times this works wonderfully well even in those cases in which you have to arrive at that final answer and not at the ratio. Please understand how this is functioning. 63 से 71 तक का एक continuous scale है. There is a scale running from 63 to 71. I understand that when it's at 67, it would be 4:4. 8 parts में मैंने उसको पूरे को divide कर लिया. When I move towards this side, fine, the composition of this mixture would be such that 63% वाला the solution 1 would be more than solution 2. And when I move towards this side, then I know that solution 2 would be more than solution 1. Can I write it like this? This would be greater than solution 1, and when I move towards this side, solution 1 would be greater than solution 2. All of you understand this? ये किस proportion में move कर रहा है, आप इसको समझने की कोशिश करो. Let's say I'm at 64. 64 में से 71 minus 64 is 7. This 7 here. 64 minus 63 is 1. So it's like this. 64 को check करो. 71 minus 65 is 6. 65 minus 63 is 2. Again the same numbers. Can I say I can do it directly that 7:1, 6:2, 5:3, 4:4? It's a continuous scale and it works like that. Nothing else can happen. I am just cleaning this up a bit and explaining to you. Just bear with me. How is it working? It starts with 63. This is 63 and this is 71. These are two extreme ends. These are two extreme ends here. Fine. And all the numbers lie in between. The numbers are 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. यही नंबर्स हैं. ये कैसे काम कर रहे हैं? बहुत ही सिंपल है. सिर्फ 64 के लिए कैलकुलेट कर लो, बाकी सब आ जाएगा. 64 के लिए जब हम करेंगे 71 minus 64 is 7, 64 minus 63 is 1. So all of you know that it would be 7:1. You know how to do this. Important part for you to realize is that if I reduce this 7 and if I increase this 1, it would start moving towards 65. And that is what is precisely happening. I make this 7:1, 6:2. It becomes 65. I make this 5:3. It becomes 66. Fine. I make this गलत तो नहीं किया मैंने? नहीं, I don't think so. This is 4:4. This is 3:5, and this is 2:6, and this 70 becomes 1:7. यही कंटिन्यूअस स्केल है ना, इसको चेक करके देख लो. Why I am telling you this thing in great detail is because if you realize what this scale is working like, you can directly arrive at the answer. अब आप इस केस में देखो, आपको क्या पूछा था? उसने पूछा था 3:5 में मिक्स करना है. यहाँ पर ये 5 वाला जो पार्ट था, ये 71 वाला पार्ट है. फाइन. अगर ये 5 वाला पार्ट आपको 71 में मिक्स करना है, डू इट एकदम in 10 seconds. What you do is that you realize quickly while doing it mentally that 71 minus 63 is equal to 8. The moment you realize this, you realize that this 8 is same as this 5 plus 3, and you can mentally divide it into scale in which it's divided into 8 parts. What are the 8 parts? These 8 parts. You do it mentally. This requires practice, but you do it mentally. Now you realize that since it's 5:3, किसी एक से उसका डिफरेंस 5 होगा, आप क्या करोगे, यू टेक द स्मॉलर वैल्यू. आई एम टेलिंग यू द वे टू अराइव एट द आंसर डायरेक्टली विदाउट कॉजिंग अ कंफ्यूजन. आपको ये पता है अगर 3:5 है, 3 + 5 8 है और 63 से 71 तक भी सिर्फ 8 ही पार्ट्स हैं. इस 63 में आपको या तो 3 ऐड करना है या 5 ऐड करना है. ये बात बिल्कुल पक्की हो जाएगी. तो आपको देखते हैं आप क्या ऐड करोगे. आप वो वाला पार्ट ऐड करोगे जो आपको ऐसा नंबर देता है जिससे टिल्ट जो है उसका वो 63% की तरफ आता है. So for 63% tilt, what do you need to do? You need to add 3 to 63, this 3 plus 3, and you arrive at 66 as the answer. Why this 66 as the answer? Because had I added 5 to 63, I would have got 68. और 68 तो हो ही नहीं सकता ना. 68 क्यों नहीं हो सकता? Because 68 is biased towards 71 and not towards 63. This is an important thing that you need to realize if you want to use alligation beautifully without doing any donkey work. This is the only thing in alligation. Just one last time. 63, 71. Fine. This is 8. So this has to be divided, this scale has to be divided into 8 parts. Fine. What you know is that this is 3:5. आपका आंसर सिंपल ही आने वाला है. या तो इस 63 में मैं 3 ऐड करूंगा या फिर मैं 5 ऐड करूंगा. अब देखो अगर मैं 3 ऐड करूंगा तो मेरे को 66 मिलेगा. 5 ऐड करूंगा तो आई विल गेट 68. सो आंसर हैज टू बी आइदर 66 और 68. मैं इतना ही सिंपल करूंगा इसको. आंसर 66 होना चाहिए या 68 होना चाहिए, सिर्फ ये कॉमन सेंस से बता दो. ये 3 वाला कंपोनेंट जो है यहाँ पर, दिस 3 हियर, फाइन, ये तो 71 वाला है ना और ये 5 वाला इधर वाला है. तो इसका मतलब इसका बायस किधर होना चाहिए, 63 की तरफ होना चाहिए. सो द आंसर बिकम्स 66. वेरी सिंपली, यू डू नॉट डू एनीथिंग हियर. You just look at these numbers, 63 to 71, you add 3 to 63, fine, and you arrive at the answer 66. This is a 5-second question. If you get the concept, alligation is not to be used like a donkey. Fine, वो लिखा formula लिखा, ये लिखा, वो लिखा. Alligation is to be understood. If you understand this, you get it right very, very quickly. I explained this 3 times. I'm moving forward to the next question. For somebody who still did not understand, I would advise doing it again. Wonderful, all of you understood. This is to be practiced. I am just giving an a perspective on how to look at alligation. This is to be used very, very beautifully. You practice it, you get it right extremely quickly. For example, this question, whoever got this method will answer in 5 seconds only. Just 5 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. Just 5 seconds only. Tuhin is extremely happy. He wants to burn his books because they have explained alligation so idiotically. Wonderful. Don't do it, Tuhin. Donate it here. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people still need those books. Nandini, you are not missing anything. I'm explaining in English only. Just some parts in Hindi. For this is a deep concept for everybody to understand. Please bear with it. You're not missing anything. Believe me. Amazing. A lot of you are saying 53. What I'm interested in knowing is how you arrived at 53. If you used alligation mentally, I'm glad. If you did not, I'm not that happy. I'm happy with the fact that you arrived at the answer. Fine. Let's look at it. What is it? There are 2 solutions. Fine. Just look at this. This is 43% solution and this is 59% solution. Fine. I again work with ratios. I do not work with actual numbers. I just work with ratios. These are 33.3 and 55.5. Anybody even slightly comfortable with ratios realizes that it's working like this. So this is basically 3:5. So that is what is given to you. You know how to do it. अगर आपको करना है, आप इसको पता है कैसे कर सकते हैं. You multiply 3 with 43, you multiply 5 with 59, you divide by 8, you arrive at the answer and the answer becomes 53. Fine. So I'm not discussing that. 3 into 43, ऊपर लिख देता हूँ मैं, 3 into 43 plus 5 into 59 divided by 8. So that's the answer that you get through this, and the answer is 53 here. So that's fine. All of you did it like this. I do not have a problem. But try and understand how I am going to do this thing. इसको एक बार देखने की कोशिश करो. ये जो 3:5 का रेशियो है, this 3:5, what is 3 plus 5? This is 8. Now what is different in this question from the previous one is, now I draw an imaginary scale again. This is again an imaginary one. This end is 43% and this end is 59%. A problem क्या है, last time this thing was adding up to this difference. So 53 minus 49, this is 16. This is 16. Last time this was equal, but here it is not equal. तो फर्क क्या पड़ता है यार, आप उसको इक्वल कर लो ना. अब ये 3:5 है यहाँ पर, this 3:5, this ratio, फाइन. इस रेशियो को मैं 2 से मल्टीप्लाई करूंगा तो वही 16 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड हो जाएगा ना लास्ट टाइम की तरह. तो मैं इस 3:5 को 2 से मल्टीप्लाई कर देता हूं. बस एक बार देखिए यहाँ पर, जस्ट लुक एट इट. सो इट बिकम्स 6:10. एक ही बात है ना, मैं 3:5 बोलूं या 6:10 बोलूं, दोनों में एक ही बात है. अगर मेरे को ये 6:10 पता है तो देखो ये पिछली क्वेश्चन जैसी सिचुएशन आ गई. इट्स एग्जैक्टली द सेम सिचुएशन इफ आई अंडरस्टैंड दिस 6:10 वेल, व्हिच वाज देयर इन द लास्ट क्वेश्चन. 6 plus 10 कितना होता है? 16 होता है. 59 minus 43 कितना होता है? दिस इज अगेन 16. सो 53 minus 49 is 16 and 6 plus 10 is also 16. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? To this 43 here I'll have to either add 6 or I have to add 10. अब आप खुद ही बताओ अपने कॉमन सेंस का इस्तेमाल करके कि इसमें क्या ऐड करना चाहिए. बस वही मेरा आंसर है, एकदम वही मेरा आंसर है और मेरे को कुछ भी नहीं करना है. इफ आई ऐड 6 to it, फाइन, किसकी तरफ बायस होगा? द बायस वुड बी टुवर्ड्स 43. बट मेरे को बायस किसकी तरफ चाहिए? आई नीड बायस टुवर्ड्स दिस 59% मिल्क सोल्यूशन. व्हाई? क्योंकि इसकी क्वांटिटी ज्यादा है. तो मैं 43 में क्या ऐड करूंगा? व्हाट वुड आई ऐड टू 43? सो आई विल ऐड 10 to 43, दिस 10, एंड द आंसर बिकम्स 53. एंड हाउ मच टाइम डू आई स्पेंड ऑन इट? 10 seconds. It's again just 10 seconds. The calculation you do, you'll probably give it 30-40 seconds. But if you're comfortable with this, you can think of this imaginary line that I'm drawing here again and again. You can do it mentally. The moment I shoot the question, you come up with the answer. It's that quick. I'm erasing it, explaining it once again. कैसे काम किया? जिसको ये confusion है 3:5 कैसे है यार? 3:5 तो ये तो आपको आना चाहिए ना. This is 33.3 upon 55.5. If you do not understand this, I'm not very happy to say that you have a problem at hand. This is 3:5. अब देखो क्या हो रहा है. 43, this is imaginary thing. 59. इस 3:5 को, क्योंकि ये 59 43 का जो डिफरेंस है ये 16 का, इट्स अ डिफरेंस ऑफ 16. आप इसको 3 plus 5 8 होता है. आप इसको अपने दिमाग में ही जस्ट चेंज टू डबल कर लीजिए 6:10. अब बस यही आपका आंसर दे देगा. आपको या तो इसमें 6 ऐड करना है या फिर 10 ऐड करना है. यू आइदर हैव टू ऐड 6 to 43 और 10 to 43. यू विल ऐड दिस 10 to 43 बिकॉज द नंबर हैज टू बी बायस्ड टुवर्ड्स 59 एंड दैट्स योर आंसर. कुछ भी नहीं करना. सो द आंसर बिकम्स 43 plus 10 which is 53. You cannot get it quicker than this. You understand this? The way to understand this would be draw imaginary scales. Take imaginary values. Take any value, draw imaginary scales, and keep practicing it. You do not need questions for this. You just take arbitrary values and look at how it's moving. आपको ये फ्लोट करते हुए दिखाई देने लग जाएंगे नंबर्स. It'll appear as if these are floating before my eyes. So the moment you see this 43, 59, जैसे आपको 3:5 दिखाई देगा यहाँ पर, आपको एकदम से 6 10 दिखाई देगा. 43 plus 10, 53 is the answer, and that's how you do it. और कुछ भी नहीं करना है इसके अंदर. I'm giving you the next one now. इसको देखो एक बार. Answer this now. Anamika, if you've missed the basics, please go back to the earlier tutorials. I'm requesting, this is an extremely important concept. Get it right, you will just rock in the exam. Jyoti, I'll cover everything before the exam, absolutely everything. Yes रोहित, वेट ज्यादा जिधर होगा उधर बायस होगा. कॉमन सेंस है यार एकदम. Yes, Sushmita, you can apply it to all alligation problems. In fact, there is nothing like an alligation problem. It's just a problem. You choose what you apply, alligation or weighted average or some XYZ method. Please stop thinking in this form. ये alligation का problem है या उसका problem है. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं होता है. Problem is a problem. You have to arrive at a solution. Use whatever. use options. In fact, abhi to we are not dealing with options. I use 50% of the questions using options. We'll come to that later. I mean, if the options are conducive. So just learn the basics first. We'll come to that. Yes, Saurabh with a smiley, 81 is the correct answer. You still didn't get the trick of Saurabh saying. He uses a smiley and it's very conspicuous then when चमकता है वो screen पे. That's why I can see his name all the time. Alright, कैसे करेंगे? Again a very simple one. देखो ये अब what I am telling you now in the next 3-4 questions is that alligation can be used absolutely anywhere. कहीं भी use होता है. Alligation is not a mixture solution concept. It can be used in times per distance. Probably algebra में भी कहीं ना कहीं लग जाएगा. It's common sense. Look at what is happening here. So this is a simple part. You are gaining 12.5%. Fine. You are gaining 12.5% by selling the mixture at 180 per kg. You know what 12.5% is? This is 1 by 8. So basically किस proportion में increase हो रहा होगा? This would be increasing in a proportion of 9:8. So this 180 is the selling price. If 180 is the selling price, what should be the cost price? My cost price should be 160. I do not do any calculation. If I am comfortable with these numbers, I get it mentally in 2 seconds. 180 selling price, cost price is 160. Why? Because the ratio has to be 8:9. So basically my question reduces to this thing only. This is 130, this is 200. ये दो rates हैं, इसके बीच में मेरे को कहीं पर arrive करना है. Fine. What is that बीच का number? It is this 160. अब बिल्कुल ही simple है ना. If this is 160, I'm just writing it to explain. You do not need to write this. Do is mentally. This difference is 40. This difference is 30. Can I say this would be in the ratio 4:3? अब 3:4 होगा कि 4:3 होगा, ये तो आप ही मेरे को बताओ ना. कौन सा वाला क्या होना चाहिए? It has to be, if you do it, this would be more, this thing 130. Why? Because 160 is tilted towards 130. So this would be mixed in the ratio of 4:3. Fine. So this thing would get 3 units for every 4 units of this one. Fine. It has to be like this. अब क्या दिया हुआ है आपको? This 130 kilogram rice का quantity दिया हुआ है 108. Fine. So 130 is 8 is 4 units. So what you do is, again my favorite unitary method. 4 units is 108 kg. So what would be 3 units? It would be 81 kilograms. So that's your answer. How much time? Hardly any time. You do not do anything. I am erasing this and explaining mentally how you look at these numbers. 180 say you arrive at 160 directly. Fine. So the 3 numbers with you are 200, 130, 160. Mentally आपके दिमाग में 3:4 आता है या 4:3 whatever आता है. Fine. What you understand directly here is that since this is 160, this 4 component of this ratio should go to 130. So this would be 4 component. This would be 3 component. Fine. आपको क्या करना है? This 4 component is given to you as 108. तो if 4 is 108, what is 3? 81 क्या है ये? 108 by 4 is 27. So 27 3 is 81. So answer becomes 81 kg. You get this right very quickly without doing any stupid error if you understand this method and you practice 100 problems on this. इसके अलावा कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता है इसके अंदर. The next one now. Answer this one. This is you'll say what is this? This is again profit and loss, but again it's an alligation problem. Think about alligation in this. Do not do anything else. Just think about alligation. सिद्धांत says कोई प्रॉब्लम है. चलिए अच्छा पूछिए, प्रॉब्लम पूछिए. All of you solve this. सिद्धांत बताइए, type your problem. I'll try and address it. सिद्धांत अपना प्रॉब्लम पूछिए. I'll address it. I'm surprised 80% of you are saying very easy, mast, maza aa gaya, and some of you are just completely at loss. I think the reason is that you have not gone through the previous tutorials. Please do it. It's a request. I mean, मैं कैसे समझाऊँ? This is extremely important. Arithmetic and DI would become a cakewalk for you if you start understanding these methods. you're getting 11. 11 is the correct answer. I'm again interested in knowing what you did here. No, you can do it by conventional method, you can do it by 2, 3, 4 methods. I'm not interested in that. Look at what I'm going to do here. This is 55 articles. Fine. What he's saying is that some are sold at a profit of 15%. So this is a profit of 15%. I'll write it as 15% plus 15%. Some of them are sold at a loss of 10%. So this is a loss of 10%. Fine. But since this is a loss and I have to draw on scale like that, fine, I will put a minus here. Why minus? Because it's a loss. The base is the same. Profit percent ho ya loss percent ho, both are calculated on cost price. So for me, this profit here becomes plus 15, this plus 15, and loss becomes minus 10. If you understand this, you get this right. He is saying he gains 10% on the entire transaction. 10% कहाँ पर होगा? यहाँ कहीं होना चाहिए, 15 की तरफ tilted. Why? Because this is now plus 10%. This is plus 10%. बस हो गया. Use alligation in this now. I'm not saying use alligation everywhere, but I'm just telling you the applications where all it can be used. You'll open your brain. You'll be open to new ideas then. Fine. So this 15% is mixed with this minus 10% to arrive at this 10%. बस क्या करना है? 15 minus 10. What does it give you? 5. Fine. 10 minus minus 10. This 10 here minus minus 10 minus minus 10. What does it give you? 20. So it has to be in the ratio of 1:4. Now what gets 1 and what gets 4? It's again very simple. This one here, since this 10% is biased towards this thing, this gets 4 and this one gets 1. What is the question? Find the number of articles he sells at a loss. वो कौन सा वाला पूछ रहा है? वो ये वाला पूछ रहा है. So इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Out of this 4 plus 1, 5 units, out of every 5 units, 1 unit would be sold at a loss. So what is it? This is 1 by 5 of 55. Do you need to write anything here? No. So the answer becomes 11 in this case. So that's the answer. And how do you do it mentally? Again, I'm doing it for all the questions. You look at these numbers. Fine. This is 15%. This is extreme. Fine. Mentally, this is minus 10. 15% minus 10%, and this is plus 10%. You realize very quickly that this ratio has to be 1:4. किसके पास 4, किसके पास 1 जाना चाहिए? This should get 4 and this should get 1. मेरे से उसने पूछा है, they are asking me इसकी quantity कितनी है? So 4 plus 1 is 5. So 1 upon 1 plus 4 or 1 upon 5 into 55. The answer is 11. I again get it in 10 seconds, not more than that. So this is another way that you can use alligation. Its applications are extensive, used extensively in data interpretation. Do the next one now. Whoever could not understand this, please watch it again. Again, a sincere request. This is the next one. Try applying the same concept of alligation here. Do it. Give me the answer very quickly. Give me the answer to quickly to this one. Since you are taking time, I'm assuming that you're doing something else, or probably since you have learned a new concept, you are trying to apply it. I don't have a problem. This is not a speed test. Just try and use it now. You will master it very quickly. Yes, I think Arun gave me the first correct answer. I'm sorry if somebody else gave it before I could not see it. The answer would be 19%. Then Savarna says 19%, Nitin says 19, Akshay, Purna, all of you saying 90%. Wonderful, the answer would be 19%. I just hope that you got it by alligation and by not some other method. Okay, I am explaining this now. Look at it again. This is again very similar to the last question. This interest percent is calculated on what? Its principal. It's the same base. So you can use the same application here. Here it is 17%. Here it is 27%. What you know is that this is 80% is loan of this loan is taken at 70%. So यहाँ पर जो है this is 80%. Or can I say that this ratio is 8:2 or 4:1, whatever way you want to put it? Fine. This is like this. अब again I will draw an imaginary scale in my mind, fine, and this scale should be divided into 10 parts. Why 10 parts? Like in the previous question, one of the questions you remember we did 27 minus 17 is 10. So if I have to divide this scale into 10 parts, the scale should be, this ratio should not be taken as 4:1, but the ratio should be taken as 8:2. This is just manipulation of numbers and nothing else, fine. So what I know is that this 17% get 8 units and this one gets 2 units. Now this is 8:2. You know how, where it would end. How would it work अगर ये चलेगा ऐसे? Let me just complete it for you. 18, 19, 20, 21 and so on it goes. Let's say here it's 26. अब खुद से बताइए, this is 8:2. ये कैसे मूव करेगा? Had it been 18%, अगर ये 18% होता तो ये कितना आता? This would be 9:1. 9 for 17% वाला पार्ट एंड 1 फॉर 27% वाला पार्ट. अगर ये 19 है तो ये कैसे आएगा? 8:2. 20 है तो 7:3 एंड लाइकवाइज इट कंटिन्यूज. व्हेन इट रीचेस 26 इट वुड बी 1:9. अब ये तो मैं आपको सिर्फ दिखाने के लिए कर रहा हूं, जस्ट शोइंग ऑल दिस टू यू. व्हाट डू आई नीड टू अराइव एट क्विकली? आई नीड टू अराइव एट दिस नंबर and I realize this mentally. How do I do it? If I have to do it mentally without doing anything and just erasing this, you realize that it's 17 one extreme and 27 other extreme. Fine. This ratio is given to you as 4:1. 4:1 से मेरा काम नहीं चलेगा. I need a difference of 10. तो मैं इस 4:1 को I change it to 8:2. Fine. 8:2 में आप खुद से बताओ, या तो मैं इसमें 8 ऐड करूंगा यहाँ पर, I'll just add 8 और I'll add 2. दोनों में से कौन सा ऐड करना चाहिए? अगर 80% loan is at 17%, it should be biased in favor of this 17%. So the answer would be 17 plus 2, 19. Yes, I get it very very simply, very easily, very very quickly. कुछ करना ही नहीं है इसके अंदर, मेरा दिमाग ही नहीं लगाना है. And this can be used again. I'm saying anywhere, there are so many places it can be used. I hope this is understood by all. I'm moving to the next one. Again, try applying animation, not animation, alligation in this. Don't apply animation. I am already quite animated. You apply alligation here. Give me the answer for this one now. Gaurav, if you want to thank me, then work hard and reciprocate our efforts. This is hard work. If you do well in the exam, we'll be glad. If you do not, even after going all through all this, it'll be all useless. Give me the answer to this one. You can do it by any method. Give me the answer first, then we'll see how we can use alligation here. Yes, I think Liz is the first one to give the correct answer this time. The answer would be 34. Wonderful. And you are again showing a big smiley. The smiley thing is working now for everybody. Ashwini says 34, Praveen 34, Arun 34, Pankaj. Yes, you are getting the answers now. Shekhar, Bubbly, Azad, all of you are getting 34. So I am assuming that either you have learned this method or you are using some trick of yours. Fine. Let us just understand how we can use alligation here. This is 85 students. This is 765 candies. देखो, things should click to you. कैसे क्लिक होती हैं? 85 into 10 कितना होता है? 85 into 10 is 850. So they would not give you a stupid number like 85 into 8.7. वो आपको ऐसे नंबर्स देते हैं ना, 85 into 8, 85 into 7. You should realize this very quickly that 850 minus 85 is 765. That's how the multiplication works ना. यही वैदिक मैथ है ना, सबको जनरलाइज करना. So this 765 here means that this 765 is nothing but 85 into 9. Now all of you know this. I am stressing on this is that you should realize very quickly that 765 is 85 into 9. The moment you realize this is job done for you. How is it going to work? each boy gets 6 candies and each girl gets 11 candies. That's unfair, but let's live with it. So this is boy with 6 candies, each boy with 6 candies and girl with 11 candies. Fine. And fine, if you have to arrive at an average, the average for the class is 9 candies. So this 9 candies is biased towards girls here again. So that's the average here. Now can you say directly by looking at this number, I am not solving it yet, that since this is 9 and 9 is biased towards 11, that's the girl side, the number of girls in the class would be more than the number of boys. At times you will look in the answer options that all the answer options, of all the answer options, there is just one option in which you can see more than half the girls or less than half the boys. Fine, so you get answer options like that, so probably stop there and mark the answer. But again we are moving forward. How will it work here? 11 minus 9, what is it? 2. I am not writing the numbers now. 9 minus 6 would be 3. What I know is that their ratio should be 2:3. Now if it's 2:3, which one gets 3, which one gets 2? It's very simple. 3 should go to girls. Why? Because 9 is biased towards 11 and this should get the poor boys 2. So it means that in this class, yes, it's female domination. In this class, for every 2 boys, there are 3 girls, and that gives you the answer. What would be the answer? So for every 5 students in the class, there are just 2 boys. So 2 boys out of every 5 students. So 2 by 5 into 85, you get the answer as 34. That's your answer, and you get it very quickly, You can do it by multiplying, by weighted average, by whatever, but in this case, because this 765 is a beautiful number, it gives me an average of 9, I can do it using alligation at a very rapid pace, Alright, you get it. I'll just repeat this once very quickly. 765 by 85 is 9. Fine. So you have to arrive at an average of 9. This is 11 for girls, 6 for boys. Fine. And you have to come here at 9. Fine. What is this ratio then? 11 minus 9 upon 9 minus 6, which is 2:3. So it means that for every 3 girls, there are 2 boys. This is it. That's your answer. So the answer becomes 2 by 5 into 85, 17 into 5 is 85, so that becomes 34. So that's your answer, you get it very quickly, again 10-15 seconds. और कुछ भी इसके अंदर नहीं करना है, this is the only way you do it. Only way you do it elegantly. Vishal is distributing Pepsi to all of you guys at the end of the session. Very good, wonderful. Get one for me at least. I'll need 2 in fact, I'm speaking so much. Right, this is the next question, answer this now. अरे यार, you are so impatient. Move on sir. यार, I'm moving on. मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ आप लोग को समझाने के अलावा? I'll put it straight. 2 things irritate me. When you ask me to slow down or you ask me to move forward, I'll work as per my agenda. There are a few thousand students who watch this. Fine, so I'll work at my pace. I understand what pace I need to work at. Please refrain from putting these requests. Sir, time speed distance करा दो या हल्के हो जाओ या तेज हो जाओ. Please do not do that, यार. Please do not do that. Answer this one now, very quickly, very elegantly, very quickly. Rajesh, these are not CAT questions. Yes, they may come in CAT, they may come in GATE, they may come anywhere. Fine, कुछ भी हो सकता है. Just understand the concept. Is it difficult? These are 10-15 seconds questions. Abhishek sir with alligation rocks. this is incorrect alligation. This is ALLEGATION. This is a different kind of alligation, which is not a good alligation. Rohit, get it right. I'm not alleging anything. Okay, I hope all of you are doing it by alligation. This again can be done by alligation. Look at what is given here. I'll just explain this very quickly. Let me just. Amrita, I am not panicking. You should panic the way I am speaking. Okay, all of you have said 50. Yes, 50 is the answer. Now look at how we can apply alligation here. what is happening in the zoo? This is just rabbits and pigeons. Fine. The total number of heads in the zoo is 150. So what you know is that there are 150 animals in all, and the total number of legs is 400. What is the number of rabbits in the zoo? Fine. इसमें ना कुछ भी हम apply कर सकते हैं. There are so many ways in which we can do this. Just one thing. Rabbits के कितने legs होते हैं? How many legs does a rabbit have? 4. And उल्टा तो नहीं बोल रहा? नहीं. Rabbit says this is 4 legs per head या per person या per rabbit, and this guy pigeon here would have just 2. So that would be 2 legs per head. So that's with the rabbit, the upper one, that's with pigeon. What you need to do here is, if you have to, if you want to use alligation here is, fine, these are the two extremes. This is rabbit and this is pigeon. Or let me just make it reverse. Let's say this is pigeon and this is rabbit. So rabbit has got 4, this is legs per head or legs per rabbit, and this has got 2. Fine, it is like this. Now what do you need to arrive at? Just look at this number. Zoo has got 150 animals. I am just trying to explain to you in how many places can alligation be used. I am not saying यहाँ पर लगाना चाहिए. Just try and understand what I am doing here. I am just explaining कहाँ कहाँ लग सकता है. This is 400. So can I say total legs per head here would be 400 by 150, fine, which would give you what? I think this is 8 by 3. So if you look at the complete zoo, this complete zoo, I can say that the total legs per head in this zoo is 8 by 3. Fine, this is 8 by 3. 8 by 3 कितना होता है? If you look at this is 2.67, and you can just think about 8 by 3 only. I do 2.67 because 2.67 makes me it makes me very obvious, makes it very obvious to me that it's more than that it's biased towards 2 and not towards 4. Fine, so which is not that obvious by 8 by 3. I don't know about you people, that happens with me. So what I'll do is just look at this. Here would be the 2.67 mark somewhere here, or you can write 2.67 or 8 by 3. Just look at this. Now again apply alligation. This thing is to this thing. So what does it become? 4 minus 8 by 3 upon 8 by 3 minus 2. And what does it give you? It gives you 2, this thing. So again I use this alligation here, and what I come to know after using this alligation is that this number, this pigeon's number here would be 2. Why 2? Because this 2.67 is biased towards pigeons as compared to rabbits, and this rabbit's number would be 1. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? That for every 2 pigeons here there is just 1 rabbit. So P is to R, I get as 2:1. अब इसको जैसे चाहे कर लो आप. The answer would be number of rabbits becomes 50 in this case, and number of pigeons becomes 100. 50, 100, you get the answer, you get everything. But there is just one more thing that I wanted to tell you in this question. This question ideally should not be done by doing alligation. Please try and understand this. This is just to make you understand the applications of alligation. How do you do it? If you get a question like this is a commonsensical question, and all these questions actually come into the exam. Karthik is showing the equation on the screen. You can use this as well. I would not use an equation. I would not use alligation here. What I'll do is very simple. ऐसे सोचो. This is 150. There are 150 animals in this farm, in this zoo. Fine. 150. कम से कम 2 heads तो सबके हैं. 2 heads नहीं है, 2 legs तो सबके हैं. अगर ये सारे के सारे all these animals had they all been just rabbits, can I say the number of heads would be 150 into 2, 300? Just listen to what I am telling you here. This is again a very important method. 150 into 2, 300. Why? Because if I assume for a moment that it's all rabbits, so rabbits, sorry, I've reversed it. In fact, if I assume that it's all pigeons, pigeons have 2 legs, so 150 into 2 will be all 300. When do these number of legs increase? When I start replacing, just listen to it carefully, when I start replacing these pigeons with rabbits. Why? Because every rabbit would come with 2 extra legs. Listen to it. So what I am doing here is, in the beginning I assume there are 150 pigeons. 150 pigeons, I should have 300 legs. This is very simple to understand. Now the moment I replace a pigeon here, this pigeon with a rabbit, can I say that for every replacement I would add 2 legs? I am writing this because this is the important part here. For every replacement, for every replacement of a pigeon with a rabbit, I am adding 2 legs. Why? Because pigeon has got just 2 legs and rabbit has got 4 legs. तो अब इस केस में आप देखो ये 300 को I have to make 400. That's what I am doing ना. Why? Because इस zoo के अंदर तो I already know that the number of legs is 400. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये हुआ that I have to reach from 300 to 400. What is this difference? This difference is 100. इस 100 को अचीव करने के लिए how many pigeons do I need to replace with rabbits? 50. For 1 I get 2. For 50 I get 100. So this 50 into 2 becomes 100, and that's how I look at this question. Please understand that there are 100 extra legs. 100 extra legs means every rabbit comes with 2 extra legs. 100 by 2, 50 becomes your answer for the number of rabbits. How do you do it mentally? The moment you look at this data, this is 150, this is 400. You do this 150 mentally into 2, 300. Fine. 300 से 400 जाना है. Fine. This is a difference of 100. 100 by 2, 50 becomes your answer. How much time does it take? Again 10-15 seconds. There is absolutely nothing that you need to do in this question, और उसमें आपको कुछ भी नहीं करना है. 100 rabbits, 50 pigeons होंगे. You can do it in 2-3 ways, by alligation, by equations and what not. I'll do this method for this question. I am moving forward to the next one now. That's your next question. Answer it carefully. Again, we are in the probably the last 15-20 minutes of the session. This is your next question. Answer it very, very carefully. Arjun says you solved this method. Arjun, if you use this, I am really happy, but I would want you to understand using alligation in this method. Okay, so many of you are saying equal savings, good, and I have got a D as well. D is Rishabh. Rishabh says D. D is also very special here. But so many C's, so many C's. Take values and check for yourself. I need a correct answer for this one. This is a very, very simple question. You cannot afford to mess this up. Please give me the correct answer for this one. Equal savings, B saves more, and equal savings पे बहुत ज़्यादा answers हैं. Okay. I am giving you just 30 more seconds to think on this and explain it then. It's a simple one. Okay, let me explain this now. Many of you have answered it correctly, many not. Jabki this is an extremely easy question. So this is ratio of savings, this is ratio of incomes 4:5. This is ratio of expenditures. Fine. Let's for a moment assume that this guy here. Let's make a small table. This is A. This is B. Can I just quickly assume some numbers? I am very uncomfortable with variables. I like to work with numbers. Let's say this is incomes. And this is expenditure. Let's for a moment assume, let's take very nice beautiful numbers. Let's think that this is 400 and this is 500. So A earns 400 rupees, whatever it is, monthly, yearly, I'm not bothered. 500 वैसे ही बहुत कम है, and 500 for B. 400, 500. Look at expenditures now. There are multiple possibilities. Fine. Let's say this guy spends just 4 rupees. And this guy spends 5 rupees. What would be the saving? 400 minus 4, this becomes 396, and this becomes 495. If you check this, 396 upon 495, this thing gives you 4:5. So this 4:5 is definitely a possibility. Who saves more? In this case, B saves more. Now if you put any random values, let's say I make this 40 and make this 50. If you make this 40, 50 here, what would the numbers be? this would become what, 360, and this becomes 450. Now I know very quickly that 360 upon 450, this 360 upon 450 would again give you 4 upon 5. So I know that 4 upon 5 is a possibility, it's definitely a possibility, and this 5 here is the B's component, it means that B saves more, fine, in all these cases. But what you forgot in this question is that they might spend this complete thing. So this becomes 400 and this becomes 5. So this becomes 400 and this becomes 500. What would happen in a case like that? So this is a very simple, easy, stupid question, but you get it wrong. Half of you would at least get it wrong because you check for values, but you forget that he can spend his entire savings. Fine. So he earns 400, spends 400, he earns 500, spends 500. What are they left with then? 0. Both would be left with 0 in this case. So there is this just one case wherein they are spending all their income, and if they are spending all their income, both are left with 0. If both are left with 0, this is a possibility, they end up with equal savings. So either it would be B or it would be equal savings. A cannot save more. So the answer has to be cannot be determined. So time for celebrate for all the people who said cannot be determined for this reason. Very simple one, but you get it wrong because you overlook the fact that they can save equal as well, which would be 0 in this case. So this is simple. I am giving you the next one now. Okay, answer this one now. Again, same data, I will make the same table here. Okay, now people are saying B and saying B in this case for sure because you do not want to get this wrong this time. Yes, I agree, answer is B, and you get it straight away without in fact needing this table. I made this just to confuse you. Just look at this. इस पर रेशो को देखो 4:5 है. Can I say B earns more than A? Fine. B की जो earning है, this income B earns more than A. Fine. Look at this. A spends more than B. Fine. So B earns more than A, but if you look at this ratio, A spends more than B. तो इस केस में तो ये पक्की बात है ना कि A उससे कम कमाता है बट ज़्यादा खर्च कर देता है, तो हमेशा ही B के पास सेविंग्स ज़्यादा होंगी. इसमें तो कुछ कैलकुलेट ही नहीं करना है ना. डू यू नीड दिस टेबल? यहाँ पर इफ यू वांट टू पुट सम वैल्यूज एंड चेक यू कैन डू इट, बट दिस इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. द आंसर हैज टू बी B straight away. There is no catch in it. The answer becomes B because B earns more and spends less. फाइन. इस रेशियो को हम देखेंगे, सीधा आंसर करेंगे, आंसर इसमें बी हो जाएगा. दिस टाइम फॉर श्योर एब्सोल्युटली रानू, इट हैज टू बी बी इन दिस केस. आई डू नॉट थिंक एनीबडी वुड हैव अ प्रॉब्लम. नाउ कम्स द थर्ड क्वेश्चन ऑन दिस वन. आंसर दिस वन नाउ. So that's number 3 in this series. Answer this one. Yes, Gaurav, it's be 100% sure. Yeah, wonderful. Be very careful. I'll put a trick question or two here and there. So be very very careful. इसका क्या आंसर होगा? Yes, Ashish, I've read B. Wonderful, wonderful. I give you 10 marks for this. You are saying B 10 times, but do not make it a practice. Yes, उल्लू बनाया. Answer for this one. Look, I twisted the equation slightly and you are again confused. Okay, give me the final answer. Last 30 seconds. Think about it. Take cases. Do whatever. Then I'm explaining this. Nayan says B 100%. I think he has checked with all the values. Good. But so many C's, so many C कैसे आ सकता है यार? C तो you should understand. It will not be C. It will be either B or D. Okay, I'm explaining this. This is again tricky. This is to understand ratios. So I thought it's a good example for you to understand ratios. Just look at this. I assume hypothetical values, again very simple values, 400 and 500. So I basically need to do trial and error, hit and trial to check what is the pattern here. For example, let's say I assume that he spends just 5 rupees out of 400A and he spends 6 rupees. In this case, it's very obvious who is going to save more. Fine. In this case, it's B. ये तो clear है ना? If I spend a smaller amount. Now how do you start thinking? You start thinking by going in this order, that when the spending increases, there is a greater chance that their spendings would eat up into all their incomes. But what is that extreme where you end? Now look at this part very carefully. This is the only important thing is not to get the answer right, but to understand how this is working. Let's say an extreme case would be that this guy A spends everything. So he would spend just 400 rupees because 400 के ऊपर तो उसके पास है ही नहीं. If he spends 400 and this ratio is 5:6, if 5 parts is 400, what would be 6 parts? It will be 20% more than 400. It would be 480. So if this guy A, I'm assuming that he is not getting money from somewhere else, there is no other source. If he earns 400 and spends all 400, in that case also going by this ratio 5:6, B would spend just 480 rupees. You can see that just 400 to 480 is satisfying this ratio. So in this case also he is left with 20 rupees. इसके पास कुछ नहीं बचा, इसके पास 20 बचा है. So I have looked at two extreme cases. One extreme case in which they are hardly spending anything. Let's say zero करते हैं, तब भी 400 500 है, B spends more. And you look at the other extreme end, because you should understand that in logic वो कभी भी ना random नहीं होता है, हमेशा pattern होता है. So when they spend less, then also it's B. When they spend a lot, they spend everything. B तो 500 कर नहीं पाएगा if the ratio is 5:6, because A does not have more than 400 rupees. But when A spends 400, B spends 480, B still made 20 rupees. It means that it has to be B in all the cases, and whoever said cannot be determined, think again, take values, please understand the pattern. Fine, I hope I explained it in detail. And now comes the last question for you. Last in this pattern, and then I'll just probably give you one question more, we'll end up. Fine, so that's your last question. Answer this now. Take a minute, answer this right. Namita is giving some candy. I don't know. Is it a piece of chicken or candy? I do not know. But what is this for? Guys, be very careful. I am giving you trick questions. So since we are winding up the session, so I am in a slightly jovial mood. So it's a weekend as well, so I'm giving you easier questions. Please answer this correctly. आप लोग डिवाइड हो जाते हो, A B C D सब मिल रहा है मेरे को इसके अंदर. Give make a consensus for a change. Give me the correct answer this time. Because your smiley was very special. I got lost in the deluge of all these messages कि किसने पहले ठीक आंसर करा. I do not know. I will explain this. Now this is very important. Understand this part. यहीं से हमें यहीं पर इसको खत्म करना है. We have to end it up here. This is A. This is B. income, let's say this is 400 and this is 500, this is expenditure and this is saving. Fine. Whenever you get a question like this and you cannot think, आपको कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, what you do is take smaller values. For example, for whoever who said A का मतलब क्या हुआ? A का मतलब that is saying it will always be A. इसी का मतलब यही होता है ना. Let's say I just take 3 here and I take 4. This is possible. If I take 3 here and 4 here, isn't it obvious that B would save more in this case? तो कम से कम I have got one case in which B would save more. तो ये A तो आंसर हो नहीं सकता. When A would be the answer when A saves more all the time. तो A तो यहाँ पर ये आंसर होगा नहीं इस केस में, because I can see that there is a case when I take expenditure for A as 3 rupees and expenditure for B as 4 rupees, in which case B would save more. तो इन वैल्यूज के साथ में I can see that A cannot be the answer, so it has to be either B or some other answer. Equal savings में नहीं हो सकता in fact, so it has to be either B or cannot be determined. That's how we proceed in questions, right? Now let me just erase this part and go to the other extreme now. What's the other extreme? Look at this 3:4. Fine. Let's say I completely exhaust their incomes. So this 3:4, the limiting ratio that I'll get here would be this thing. I make this guy spend all 500. Now I have not put the number for A but for B. There is a reason. I'll explain. This is 500 and this ratio is 3:4. It means that this would become 375. There is no other choice. Now you can see here that this 500 is completely exhausted and this guy is left with 0 now, and this 400 is not completely exhausted and 25 rupees are left here. Now these values are hypothetical, but you can actually see the pattern here. So it started from when your spending is less, it started from B saving more and it ended up at A saving more. It means that it's the pattern, it's going in that direction. Are you getting it? So this is again a trick question which you got it wrong. Fine. Had you just taken two extreme values without getting the concept, you would have got it right. Just two extreme values. What is one extreme value? That you spend the minimum possible. What is the other extreme value? That you exhaust all their income. You're getting me? आपको दो extreme values लेनी है. एक में कम से कम खर्चा करना है, एक में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा करना है. आपको पैटर्न समझ में आ जाएगा इस केस में. Fine. So the answer becomes cannot be determined. That's my answer. But there is just this is not all. Fine. When it comes to this question, I am just erasing this because I have explained it in detail. When it comes to a question like this, एक चीज आपके दिमाग में आ रही होगी, how is 3:4 different from 5:6? इसका बहुत ही सिंपल सा एक्सप्लेनेशन है. ये जो 4/5 है ना, this is the important ratio. So this is question number 4 in this pattern in this series of 4 questions. This is connected to the first one. ये जो 3:4 है, look at it as 3/4. Fine. This 3/4 is actually less than 4/5. So whenever this happens, this 3/4 is less than 4/5. The answer would be cannot be determined. Just remember this and try and understand this later. Fine. When this 4/5 and 4/5 thing was there, you said C and D cannot be determined, right? So whenever this ratio is 4/5 or less than 4/5, answer would be cannot be determined. When it's more than 4/5, anything more than 4/5, for example 5/6 was also more than 4/5, the answer would be tilted in favor of B. Have you got the pattern? कैसे आएगा? I'm just writing it very neatly here. This is income, this is 4/5, expenditure 4/5. In this case, if this expenditure is less, fine, this thing is fine, like this ratio, if this is 4/5 or less than 4/5, the answer would be cannot be determined. For any value of expenditure ratios that's greater than 4/5, expenditure is greater than 4/5, the answer becomes tilted in favor of B and B becomes my answer in this case. Remember this, understand this. I am not asking you to mug this up. Do not blame me later कि सर ने आज समझाया नहीं और फिर से बोला याद कर लो. मैं याद करने को नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. I am just saying understand and realize this pattern. Why is this happening? Fine. Just I'll explain it in English as well. English से मतलब वैसा वाला English. What is happening is, if you look at this, though A is spending less than A, in what percentage is he spending? Though A is earning less than A, in what percentage is he earning less than A? Fine, 5/4. So it's 20% less. That's earning. Here A is spending less, but in what proportion is it less than B is spending? Here 3:4. It's 25%. Since this 25% belongs to this guy here, this guy A. फाइन, एंड दिस इज सेविंग, इसी से सेविंग पता चलती है ना. सो दिस 25 इज ग्रेटर देन 20, दैट्स व्हाई वी कैन नॉट बी डिटरमाइंड. If it's any number greater than 25%, any number greater than 20%, it would be tilted in favor of P. Do this, understand this as a pattern, you will realize how beautiful a concept this is, and you get questions on things like that. This is food for thought for you. Okay, I am giving you just one last question for the day now, just one last question. I'll write it down. I do not have it written, I do not have it in the printed with me. Just be patient, I am explaining that to you. Just one last question now. दिव्यांशु सेज इक्वल कब होगा? इक्वल 4:5 के केस में ही होगा, लेकिन या फिर सब में कभी कभी बीच में हो सकता है, लेकिन 4:5 में वो वाला केस भी आएगा जब बराबर हो जाएगा. आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, सम ऑफ यू हैड डाउट इन दिस. यू आर आस्किंग कि ये बराबर कैसे होगा, कब होगा? ये बराबर 4:5 के केस में ही होगा, लेकिन सिर्फ तब होगा जब उन्होंने पूरा एग्जॉस्ट नहीं किया. प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस, दे वुड बी इक्वल दिव्यांशु when they do not spend that entire thing and it's in the ratio 4:5. Otherwise, you know, sporadic cases. Now look at this last question. It's an interesting one. Fine, I'll give you the question. If you answer this, I'll explain it today. If you do not answer it, I'll explain it on Monday then. Fine, this is your question. You understand what grazing is? What this term means, grazing. Grazing is a cow or a goat eating grass in a field. That's called grazing. घास चरना जिसको बोलते हैं, that's called grazing. Fine, so my question is that let's say there are 100 cows. They are grazing in a field. Fine, so there are 100 cows and they are grazing in a field. They, you know, polish it off completely. Polish off का मतलब पता है आपको? नहीं पता है तो उसको देखिएगा. Polish off means मतलब किसी चीज को चट कर जाना, पूरा खा जाना. This is again for your vocabulary. They polish off this complete field in 15 days. Listen to the question very carefully. There are 100 cows, there is a group of 100 cows, they polish off a field completely in 15 days. Whereas if there are just 60 cows, let's say there are just 60 cows, they will take 30 days to complete this thing. Fine, so if it's 100 cows, they will take 15 days. If there are 60 cows, they will take 30 days. My question is that if it's, let's say, if this field is to be completely done, completely eaten, the grass gone, everything in 10 days, fine, that's my question. I need 10 days. How many cows do I need? Think about it. It's a difficult question. It's you know, it's concept, completely concept. Do not get into any serious algebra or anything. Listen to the question. 100 cows graze a field completely in 15 days. 60 cows graze it in 30 days. I am saying how many cows are needed if you want this field completely grazed in 10 days. That is my question. Nayan, there is nothing like a CAT question or a ZAT question or a GMAT question. A question is a question. It can appear absolutely anywhere. Clear your concepts through it. Okay. So you need to tell me how many cows are needed to finish it off in 10 days. मैं एक बार क्वेश्चन को हिंदी में भी एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ सब लोगों के लिए. 100 गायें हैं, 100 काउज हैं जो एक फील्ड को पूरा खत्म कर देती हैं 15 दिन के अंदर. 60 काउज हैं जो उसको 30 दिन में खत्म करती हैं. आपको ये बताना है कि अगर उसको मेरे को फील्ड को 10 दिन के अंदर खत्म करना है तो मुझे कितनी काउज लगेंगी. सो दैट्स माय क्वेश्चन. अश्विनी से क्वेश्चन गड़बड़ है. ओके You guys have this habit of classifying questions into ये time and work है या time speed distance है, इसी के लिए प्रॉब्लम होता है. A problem is a problem, whatever the topic, it's not time and work. Nayan, I'm not offended here. I'm just telling you that do not think like, I'm in fact telling you that it's not a CAD question or a ZAD question for the simple reason that when you think it's a CAD question, you think it's difficult. So that's the reason why I keep telling you, do not think like it's a CAD question or a ZAD question or a GMAT question. A question is a question. It's an easy question. That's the only thing that matters to me. 150 boys. अरे यार boys कैसे घास चरेंगे, क्या बोल रहे हो? Cows ही लिखा था ना मैंने, I wrote cows only. Okay, I do not think I got the correct answer. I do not remember the answer. In fact, I am not doing it today. I'll do it on Monday. Just let me explain one thing here, which is very important. Just look at it again. I am, just erasing this. I am giving you some food for thought here. एक सेकेंड इसको देखो आप. What did I tell you? 100 cows, 15 days. 60 cows, 30 days. You did not ask me one thing. Generally, if you use this concept of work or whatever here, proportions and all, if it's 15, if it's going from 15 to 30, should it not be 50? That's how it generally works ना. ये ऐसा ही होता है ना. It works like this. If 100 cows graze it in 15 days and 50 and and I'm saying ये time and work का ही concept है ना. Days double हो गया तो cows half हो गई. ऐसा कुछ करते थे ना कि if let's say 2 men do a job in 7 days, fine, how much time would 1 man take? 7 into 2, so that's 14. ऐसे ही होता था ना. पहली बात तो ये आपने मुझसे वो पूछा नहीं कि ये 60 कैसे हो सकता है. कुछ लोगों ने बोला गड़बड़ है, बट वहीं खत्म हो गया. सो अगर हम उस लॉजिक से देखते हैं तो 50 cows 30 days में होनी चाहिए. बट अगेन द क्वेश्चन इज नॉट इनकरेक्ट. द क्वेश्चन इज नॉट इनकरेक्ट. द क्वेश्चन इज करेक्ट. Please understand why this would happen. Please try and understand. Can anyone tell me why it can happen? It can happen only in one case. If it's not 50 and I'm saying it's 60 only, I'm still insisting it's 60 for 30 days. ऐसा सिर्फ एक ही केस में हो सकता है. काउज मेरे को क्यों बढ़ानी पड़ रही हो सकती हैं? आई हैव टू इंक्रीज द नंबर ऑफ काउज जस्ट फॉर वन रीजन, एंड दैट वन रीजन इज दैट प्रोबेबली द ग्रास इज ग्रोइंग. थिंक अबाउट इट ना. इट्स अ फील्ड. नई घास भी तो आएगी ना. So probably what you need to understand in this question is that in this interim, in this period of 15 days to 30 days, some grass grew as well, because of which it could not be polished off. उसको वो 50 गाय चट नहीं कर पाई पूरे 15 दिन के अंदर, क्योंकि कुछ घास उसमें वापस से उग गई थी. विवेक, डू नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड यार, लिसन टू इट, बाद में दोबारा से देखना, समझ में आ जाएगा. अगर यहाँ पर घास नहीं उग रही होती, ऐसे सोचो कि इट्स स्टेबल, फाइन, स्टैटिक, चारा नहीं होता, पड़ा हुआ है, तो उस केस में यहाँ पर 100 cows 15 days, 50 cows 30 days ही होता. बट वॉट इज हैपनिंग इज दैट न्यू ग्रास इज ग्रोइंग. So it's not inverse proportions. For those of you who are familiar with this terminology, I do not want to confuse you. That's why I'm not using it. I was not using it. It's not inverse proportions. It's inverse relation. तो हमारे को इतना पता है कि if 100 हुआ, 100 से 60 हुआ, इससे अगर ये ऐसे चलेगा, I'm again erasing the screen. Fine. So ये 100 से this was what 15. ये 60 हुआ यहाँ पर, and it's going like this. This was 30 days. So I'm saying that it goes like this. अगर यहाँ पर मेरे को 10 चाहिए तो दिस नंबर वुड गो अप. ये 100 से ऊपर का कोई आंसर आएगा, मेरे को पता है. बट दिस इज नॉट इन डायरेक्ट इनवर्स प्रोपोर्शन, दिस इज एन इनवर्स रिलेशन. बट दिस इज अ ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन, अंडरस्टूड. But this is a very easy question. These are the kind of things that are asked to you in interviews, that are asked to you in all the aptitude tests and all. Please work on this question, come up with a correct answer. The only thing that I wanted to tell you today is that this 115 and 16, 30 is correct. You need to tell me that if it has to be just 10 days. Fine. How many cows do you need? When you give me the answer, I'm sure you would on Monday evening, the correct answer to this one, then I'll give you a couple of other quick questions based on this same set. Fine. Unfortunately, if my memory serves me right, what I calculated is right. I haven't still got the correct answer. Fine. That's unfortunate slightly, but I still haven't got the correct answer. That's what I feel. I do not know if I missed some of the messages in this deluge of messages, but I think I have not seen the correct answers yet. Think about it. It's food for thought for you. It's a very, very important, very beautiful question if you want to understand things by heart. Fine. So I'm erasing this. I hope all of you got the question. Let me just appear on the screen for one last time. Fine. So this is it, guys. This is the end of the session today. Nothing else to teach here. I hope you found it interesting. Work on these concepts. We did 2-3 things. We did ratios, then we did alligation, and then this last problem. Work on these 3-4 concepts, revise them fully. Please understand, you do not need to mug them up. I got a couple of messages last time saying, sir, हमेशा समझ में आता है, last time नहीं आया, so we mugged it up. Do not do that. I mean, I'll go to any extent to make you understand. It's extremely critical. Understand this. Monday the agenda would be all your questions like इसको उतना उसमें मिलाया, उसको उसमें इतना मिलाया. You remember that? कुछ नहीं है उसमें. It's very simple. Fine. Just come here with an open mind. My only expectation from you when we meet on Monday is that you should have seen all my previous sessions on DI and arithmetic. Percentage, profit loss, compound interest, simple interest, this one, last one, everything. Got your concepts right? Then this Monday session would clear all your doubts here and there जो भी उसमें रहता है. That's the only thing. और कुछ नहीं कहना मेरे को. बस I'll take your leave. I'm slightly tired now. This is Saturday evening as well. Fine. So I'll take your leave. Thank you so much for your patience. Keep practicing. Download previous papers. Download sample papers. Practice on grade up, practice on our FB group. People are posting a lot of wonderful questions. Keep helping each other. I've seen some people just post questions like इसका आंसर बताओ. अरे ऐसे मत करो यार, तुम भी किसी का आंसर बताओ तभी वो बताएगा ना. It's a group, it's a community. Help each other. Fine. So do not say 2 घंटे बाद सर आंसर नहीं मिला. कोई आंसर नहीं देने वाला है. You help others, others would help you. Fine. So work as a community. So this is it. Wish you a very happy weekend. No weekend for you. Samir is taking a vocabulary class tomorrow at 7 p.m. So I would just vanish from the screen now. Wish you a happy learning phase. All the best to you.